Hey Yappers! Welcome back to Binge Yap Repeat. Today, we're diving into The Witness, the gripping drama miniseries that explores the murder of Rachel Nickell and the aftermath of a case that shocked the UK. At the center of it all is her 2-year-old son Alex, who was the only witness to the crime. We also discuss the companion documentary, which sheds additional light on the investigation and helps answer some of the questions left open by the series. A quick trigger warning before we begin. This episode contains discussion of rape, sexual assault, and violent crime. And with that, let's dive in. Our episode starts now.
Welcome, Yappers, to another episode of Binge Yap Repeat. I'm Ruchi.
And I'm Shalini.
And today's episode is all about The Witness. Not the 2016 video game, but instead the television true crime drama miniseries, as well as the documentary that came out at the exact same time on Netflix.
Is the documentary also called The Witness?
No. So the documentary is called The Murder of Rachel Nickell. So I think what Netflix did is they released The Witness, which is the drama miniseries, and then they also released The Murder of Rachel Nickell on the same day as the documentary counterpart. But both of them were produced with Alex and Andre Hanscom's perspective, and not blessing, but their
endorsement. Support,
synonyms, etc.
One of those words is probably accurate.
Yeah. The Witness, while also a 2016 puzzle video game, is a television true crime drama miniseries retelling of the 1992 killing of Rachel Nickell and the aftermath for her husband and son. The series is based on the memoir Letting Go by her son, Alex Hanscom. It premiered on Netflix on June 4th, 2026, along with the true crime documentary, The Murder of Rachel Nickell. Okay, so for all of these true crime things, I think it would be helpful to give a brief timeline about what actually happened. So here we go. Note that this is an abridged timeline, and then we'll get into the full timeline a little bit later. Okay, so we're starting with July 1992 is the murder of Rachel Nickell on the Wimbledon Commons. The arrest of Colin Stagg happens August 1993. Then we have another murder of Samantha and Jasmine Bissett in November 1993. And then I think in 1993 or early 1994, the Hanscoms move to France. They leave the London. They leave the London. They leave London and they move to France. In September 1994, the case against Colin Stagg is thrown out after he's been in custody for 13 months. And then in 1996 or 7, the Hanscoms moved to Barcelona after the reporters find them in France. In 2002, there are progressions to DNA amplifying techniques. In 2003, with I think 13 months of testing or something, finds that there is unmatched male DNA that does not belong to either Alex or Andre on Rachel Nickell's clothes. By November 28th, 2007, sometime in between 2003 and 2007, they find that it matches Robert Napper's DNA. In November 28th, 2007, Napper was charged with Nickell's murder. He appeared at the court on December 4th, 2007, where he was granted bail on condition that he stayed at the Broadmoor Psychiatric Hospital. On January 24th, 2008, he pleaded not guilty to Nickell's murder, but then the trial starts on November 11th, 2008, so way later that year. And then on December 18th, 2008, Napper pleads guilty to the manslaughter of Rachel Nickell on the grounds of diminished responsibility. So a full, 16 years later?
Wow. Yeah. So, okay, let's back up to 1992. So, Wimbledon Commons, what is that, the neighborhood in London?
Oh, yeah. So I looked up geography, too, around all of this stuff. So
Awesome.
Wimbledon Commons is this, giant piece of land in London. So if you looked at a map, I don't know, what the like what the area is compared to Central Park. It looks like a lot bigger than Central Park. So if you can
Mm.
imagine, like that's the size of land that you're looking at when it comes to figuring out where this person would have gone, like where the murder happened, like who is in the vicinity who could either be the murderer or have seen the murderer. It's like
Mhm.
a giant piece of land that the police had to scour through to like find pieces of evidence, which is also why the police were like, well, like this is why it's taking so long to find someone.
Yeah, interesting. And is Wimbledon Commons at all affiliated with Wimbledon, the tennis tournament?
I had a feeling you were going to ask that. Okay, Wimbledon, London is a suburb of southwest London, main commercial center of the London borough of Merton, and it is home to the Wimbledon Championships and contains the Wimbledon Common, one of the largest areas of common land in London. So, yes,
Oh, oh, okay. Interesting, because Gemini's telling me Wimbledon Tennis and Wimbledon Commons are distinct separate entities. Oh, that share the same neighborhood in Southwest London. Okay.
gotta
Got
keep
it, got it,
reading.
got it, got it, got it. Okay. Wimbledon Commons, an expansive 1,140-acre stretch of protected open heathland and woodland.
Yes.
Cool. Wow, that's huge.
Yeah, massive, massive, massive.
Cool. So, going back to right after the murder happened, um, I was so shocked at how much Alex remembered about the murderer's appearance.
Yeah, as a 2-year-old, right?
Yeah. Insane, insane. And how he remembered the belt. I mean, I guess I'm guessing these things were accurate and not dramatized, but yeah, is that right?
Yeah,
Okay. Wow. So he remembered the belt and like the color of his clothing and the shoes and that he was holding a bag and stuff. Wow. That's
yeah.
insane.
I think what was interesting in the drama series is that they even talked when Alex is older, I think he's like 16 or something. He like goes to the psychiatrist who has talked to Robert Napper, and they're having a conversation about memory. And the psychiatrist is telling him about all of these things that happened to Robert Napper when he was a child. Like his father abused him, he had like family members sexually abuse him. He um was prone to violence from people that he trusted. He just like had a really hard time growing up. And then Alex was like, "Oh my gosh, does he remember any of that?" And then the psychiatrist is like, "Actually, no." And it's actually quite common for um people who have had traumatizing childhoods to actually not remember it because they don't want to.
Yeah.
And so like they just like have no memory of their childhood. And then Alex is like, I've had plenty of memories of my childhood before and after the accident or the incident. And the psychiatrist is like, well, it's because you were loved. Like you were such a loved child. And I was like, oh my God, it's true. Like, and maybe that's the reason why he was able to remember what happened to his mom is because he was so loved and he felt so safe by his mom and his dad that he was able to remember all of these details. And even the police
Yeah.
commented on that, right? They were like, that's quite a son you have there.
Yeah, that was really beautiful. I really like how that kind of tied together and kind of healed his relationship with his dad in the end because you could tell the entire show in the 2008 timeline there was so much resentment between him and his dad, and it was so painful to watch because obviously his dad has his best interests at heart, and he's trying to do the best by his son, but, like, his son is, a rebellious teenager and hates his dad and doesn't think that he's knows what's best for him and stuff, and so I loved that moment as kind of a healing point between the 2, to really, because I think that's the first time he really humanizes his dad and he
Yeah.
realizes everything that his dad has done for him and not just like what his dad has been trying to do for the case.
Exactly. And I think what the series did really well is they portrayed that his dad was constantly thinking about what is best for Alex, like what is best for him to grow up in somewhat of a normal way without all of these reporters coming into the picture. How can I give my child the best thing, even though this horrible, horrible thing has happened to him, without even acknowledging that the horrible, horrible thing happened to Andre as well?
Yeah, I know he really just, like, from the start put his son first and didn't really think about him. Like, you couldn't even really tell that he was grieving his wife's death. Like, he barely even focused on that himself, or as they showed it in the show. I just remembered a moment from episode 1 where when that happens, when the police question Alex and Alex gives the description and they're like, "Wow, that's some kid you have there." It's awesome that he remembered everything, and then Andre's like, "Is it awesome that he remembered
Yeah.
everything? Like, that's horrible that he remembers everything." But kind of tying back to the end of the show, it just goes to show how great of parents he and Rachel were. Yeah, and
Yeah.
even though this horrible thing happened, it's better that he remembers it because his childhood was so good and safe than he blocked it out, and which would be nice because he doesn't remember the horrible thing, but that would also have, like, worse implications.
So let's talk about worse implications. So, yes, Alex was able to remember a lot of key details, but eventually what he remembered ended up implicating the wrong person. So, so Alex was like, "Oh yeah, it was this guy with the white shirt and he had a belt over his shirt, which was kind of weird, and he had a black bag." And then the police took that and ran with it and they were like, "Oh my God, we have to figure out like who this man is." And so they rake through all of the witness testimonies and there was like some like doctor's wife or something who has mentioned that she has seen someone who has this description and
I think
they
she had seen him that day.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like, wait, what do you mean that day?
The person that they had questioned had seen someone matching that clothing description that day at Wimbledon Commons.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Not
exactly.
just, like, around, but
Right. Yeah, so someone had mentioned seeing, like, a somewhat suspicious person matching that description that day who was at Wimbledon Commons, who was walking into the Wimbledon Commons 10 minutes before the murder has actually happened. And so they try to figure out who the name is. They, like, put it out on, what is it, Crime Watch, matching the profile, and then, like, a bunch of people call in being like, "Oh, that's Colin Stagg, like, I know that person." And then they're like, "Okay, so it's gotta be this person." And then they bring the witness testimony or the witness in, and then they also do, like, a what is it, like, an ID what is it called? Like, a lineup, basically?
yeah.
Like an ID lineup, and they put Colin Stagg in there, and then, the witness, like, the doctor's wife is like, "Oh, yeah, that person," and it's Colin Stagg, and so they're like, "This is it. This is our man." So they take that, they run with it. They're like, "We need evidence now." The only evidence that they can come up with is this profiler who is basically saying that, like, the person who killed Rachel Nickell has to have some kind of sexual deviancy and, like, violent history. And, someone calls in saying that they used to be like, they used to exchange letters with Colin Stagg, until Colin Stagg's letters got a little bit obscene and profane, and then she was like, I don't wanna exchange letters with this person anymore." And then they look at the letters and they, like, send it to the profile, and the profiler is like, "Oh, yeah, the possibility that, like, 2 of these people would exist in the same, like, 5-mile radius is, like, 1 in 10,000,000 or something. Like, this is absolutely our guy." And so they're like, "Okay, great. So we're gonna do this honeypot entrapment where we're going to have a police officer pose as someone who is interested in this guy and try to get a confession out of him." They like create this wild story where this police officer is basically impersonating someone who's interested in Colin Stagg in the attempts to get a confession. They get to the point where Colin Stagg is like, "Oh, yeah, and this is where it happened, like, the murder happened," and then apparently he describes things that only the killer could have known, like the placement of her hands and her head or whatever, and then they're like, "This is it. This is the evidence we need," which is, you know, a little bit circumstantial at best. They go to the court. The court's like, "Throw it all out. This is inadmissible because it's like a honeypot entrapment situation, and it does not count towards evidence towards your case. So they basically have 0 pieces of evidence going into this court case, and so Colin Stagg is let off.
Okay. How did he know exactly what the body looked like? Do you think he came across it? He happened to see the body, or he just happened to pose exactly how the body was?
If I were to guess, if they put out a picture of like what the body would look like, if you don't show the hands, I feel like there's only so many ways hands can lay if you're in a certain position. It's like, like maybe like palms up or like palms down or something,
Yeah.
And so like maybe he just like guessed at what the position would be and it like happened to be correct.
Mm.
That's one theory. I think the second theory is that maybe he did actually come across it and it was just like, I'm gonna leave. Like,
Vroom,
yeah,
vroom,
like,
vroom, vroom.
yeah, exactly. Like, oh no, this is not good. And then maybe just like freaking left. Like, who knows, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking that too. I was like, oh, maybe he did come across the body and he was just like mildly interested in what was happening, so he like took note of it, but was not the one that killed her.
Yeah. Or
Yeah.
maybe he came across it while it was happening and didn't do anything about it and just left
Yeah.
and then was like, felt shameful about that. Who knows?
Who knows? Who knows? But Colin Stagg and Robert Napper looked tragically similar, I must
Unfortunate.
say.
Yeah.
Do you know, did they look that similar? Did they show pictures of both of them in the documentary? Did they also look similar in real life?
They not only showed pictures, Colin Stagg himself was in the documentary.
Oh,
Yes.
okay. And
Um,
did they, yeah, what'd they look like? Did they look similar?
they kind of look similar. Yeah, I would say so. The thing with Colin Stagg, though, is I feel like when he did the interview, he actually seemed kind of normal. I mean, when they showed pictures of him or like videos of him when he was, I think, in his early 20s, I guess, at the time, he definitely seemed a little insane, I would say. Like, he had, like, muscle shirts, and he was just, like, literally Naruto running everywhere, so I was like, "This is kind of weird." Okay, maybe not Naruto running because it wasn't, you know, in vogue at the time, but he is the type of person who would Naruto run, if you know what I mean.
I see. I see.
Yeah, and, um, not that there's anything wrong with Naruto running, I used to Naruto run when I was in 6th grade. Anyway, that being said,
Why? Can I ask why?
you may not. I thought it would make me run faster.
Oh,
It didn't.
Richie.
A moment of silence for 6th grader Richie.
Okay, all right. We've all done things in our past that would embarrass us now.
Anyway, back to Colin Stagg. I mean, I think the way that he presented in the documentary was more normal than earlier videos would imply and the docu-series would imply. Or sorry, not the
Okay,
docu-series, the mini-series would imply.
got it.
Um,
Yeah.
and an update on Colin Stagg is that he was awarded at the time that he was at the time, I think that they caught Robert Napper, they gave Colin Stagg £706,000, which is like approximately like $1 million at the time to
As an
basically
apology,
as an apology. Yeah. So he did benefit from it, but he was also just like,
it's ruined my life.
yeah, exactly. He was like, I was the most hated man in London for 15 years.
Yeah.
To the point where, this is what he said in the documentary. He was like, to the point where if I even looked at a woman, I had to immediately look away because I didn't want her thinking that I would like do something to her or that I would like intimidate her or she would like look me up and be like, oh, actually, you were incriminated for this. So
Yeah.
his life was basically ruined
Yeah.
by the police based on the circumstantial evidence.
Oh, that is so sad.
Yeah.
Poor Colin. Okay, so let's talk about Robert,
Let's talk about Robert.
Mr. Napper. So they kind of gave some insight into his past when they showed that conversation between his psychiatrist and Alex. But do you have a timeline that could maybe lay out exactly what happened in his life.
Boy, do I.
Great.
Okay, so we started our initial timeline with Rachel Nickell murder happening in July 1992. But there are 3 very important bullet points that happened before the 1992 murder. The timeline starts with September 1989. The mom of Robert Napper has called the police saying that Robert Napper confessed to her that he raped this woman. And then the police do nothing about it. They don't even take a blood sample. They don't even do anything. They just like don't follow up, which is crazy.
Insane.
A series of rapes and attacks that happened over a 4-year period from 1990 to 1994. This is the Green Chain Walk rapes, which they kind of talked about in both the documentary and the series.
Yeah.
The Green Chain Walk is basically, it's about a 30-minute drive from Plumstead, which is to the east of Green Chain Walk, and it's
And that
about
was
30
where
minutes.
the
Yes,
Bissett family was.
where the
Okay.
Bissett family was. And it's also a 30-minute drive from the Wimbledon Commons, which was to the west of it. So it's
It
in
looks
between.
really long.
Yeah, it is really long.
It's like spans like the entire width of London, it looks like.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so basically this is like where his area was.
Got it. Okay. Wow. Wait, and where's Wimbledon? What is London? I've only been to like
But
Big Ben.
Wimbledon Commons, it's also hard to tell where exactly the murder took place because Wimbledon Commons itself is so large.
Oh.
So I just use like the Google Maps point thing. But it's like one of those things where if you were just looking at the driving time, it's like very different compared to walking time or like biking time.
Yeah.
So like some of these places could actually be pretty close, but if you're looking at driving time, like with all the twists and turns, it comes out to be an hour, which doesn't seem like they're that close, but they actually could be, depending on, you know, where the actual points of interest were.
Right. Because like I always forget. Green Chain Walk. Green Chain Walk probably starts quite close to there, but then goes like all the way to the other far end of London.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so that's the Green Chain Walk attacks. There is some witness testimony, like during the early part of this time, where they take some DNA. They have unknown male DNA that's found on some of the victims, but they don't take a blood sample because I don't know if this is how, I don't know if this is in the series or the documentary, but basically what happens is that they go to the address of Robert Napper. They knock on his door, the known address. He opens the door. They're like, "Hey man, we found your DNA. You have to come into the police station to do a blood sample." And then he's like, "Cool, yeah, I'll be there." And they're like, "Okay." And then they leave.
Yeah, that did happen in the show. They're like, "Oh yeah, he didn't show up." And they're like, "Okay, then what did you do?" "Oh yeah, we asked him to come in again." "Okay, and then?"
And he
just didn't show up.
Yeah. And then they don't follow up on it. So this part is true. They don't follow up on it because some of the witnesses are like, "Oh yeah, we think the guy was like 5'7" or 5'8", and Robert Napper is like 6'1" or something."
That's right. Yeah.
And so that's why they're like, "Oh, he must not be our guy. We don't need him to come in and do a blood sample because his height is a little bit different."
Insane. Just so insane.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So this was in the documentary then. So in the documentary, they like go to his address, they knock on his door, they tell him to come in for a blood sample. He's like, "Cool, yeah, man, I'll be there." Then they leave. Then he doesn't come in, obviously. They go back to the address. He's moved out.
Oh my God.
And that's why they can't bring him in.
Oh my God.
It's like,
so
really?
sloppy. So sloppy.
Yeah.
Crazy. Yeah, it was so crazy to me that that happened. So like that's one group of police that didn't do their full diligence in like getting Robert Napper to the station. Then there's the set of police investigating Jasmine and Samantha Bissett's murder that actually did connect the two and then made the further connection to Rachel Nickell, And then the third set of police that were investigating Rachel Nickell did not accept, like, they didn't listen at all to the fact that Robert Napper could be the source of all of these. It was
Right.
so frustrating.
Yeah. So in the documentary, they did find the map of the murders that happen, or like that Robert Napper has circled.
Mm,
So they did find that map, and they did see a circle at Isabella Plantation, which they say is really, really close to Wimbledon Commons. And I looked this up. This is also like it's maybe a 20 to 25 minute like bike ride
mm,
from Wimbledon Commons. But again, like we don't really I couldn't easily find the site of where Rachel Nickell's
yeah,
murder happened, so I'm not sure. But it does seem pretty close.
yeah,
Isabella Plantation, right? Yeah.
yeah,
Isabella Plantation and Wimbledon Commons are like kind of right next to each other. So
yeah.
they're
Like,
like,
Isabella
"Oh my
Plantation
God."
is on this huge green area that just borders the Wimbledon Commons giant green area. So, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So they're like, "Okay, these two things are really close to each other." It's the only murder that is like anywhere close to like the Samantha Jasmine Bissett murder that happened in this area is the Rachel Nickell murder, which is still unsolved. So they're like, dude, you guys got to look into this. And I think what happens is that they weren't able to make the link, or like they weren't able to tell the police who were in charge of Rachel Nickell's murder to make the link, because the police on Rachel Nickell's murder are like, it's absolutely Colin Stagg. Like, this is our guy. It's not even this other guy. Like it's like out of the realm of possibility that it could be these other guys. So they just like don't follow up on that link at all because they're like so sure that it's Colin Stagg.
Ugh, ego. It's ego, is what it is.
Yeah, I guess it's like it's ego. It's also public pressure to get this thing solved as soon as possible. And the fact that I can see how the police would have been like, okay, Colin Stagg is absolutely our guy. If we start going down this route of like figuring out and ruling out if it's this other person, the public is going to be like, oh, so you're not sure. You're not sure that Colin Stagg is your guy. So like that's why you're doing this. So I can kind of see it that way, but also like
But
it's
also,
in your
like,
best interest to get the right man.
yeah, seriously. And also, like, I feel like if I was in that position, I would be like, but what if it's not? I would, I I would want to know for sure that I'm not putting the wrong man in prison.
Yes.
Right?
And also, they didn't have any evidence tying Colin Stagg
Yeah.
to
And
the murder.
I feel like that's where the ego comes in. It's like, well, I don't want to risk the embarrassment of myself being wrong, so I'm just gonna like stick to my guns
Yeah,
and blame it
that's
on
exactly what it
Colin.
was.
Oh,
I
horrible.
know. It's not good.
Ugh.
Okay, so then what happens is they charge Robert Napper for the Bissett murder in 1995, which is so unfortunate because again, the murder happens in 1993. There's also like green chain walk rapes that are happening. There's
Right.
at this point over like I think there's around like 75 women who have
Oh
basically
my
been attacked by
god.
this guy.
That's so many.
Yeah. And
Jeez.
all of that could have been preventable if they had just brought him in
Listen to
or
his
like charged
mom.
him. Listen to his mom. September 1989.
Fuck.
I know. What a failing. Ah. Okay, there's like other differences. Oh yeah, okay. So like another difference in the documentary versus the series is that in the documentary, or sorry, in the series, when they call to like give information about the link with Robert Napper and the Nickell murder, the guy at the time is being fired, and like it's implying that's why there was no information given, because the head investigator or something was getting fired. And so like who's the lead investigator? Oh, is there an investigation going on
Right.
then? Unclear. It's like, who do you give that information to? It's like,
Mm.
that's where the ball just drops. But in the documentary, they just like weren't working with each other. They were like
Oh,
operating in silos.
interesting. Okay.
Yeah. But again, like failings from 1989 onwards
Yeah.
at many points. One thing to talk about is the DNA technology. So,
Mm.
uh, in the series, they were basically saying that, oh, in 2002, there was like new DNA technology which allowed us to figure out like who this DNA actually belonged to. So in the documentary, they actually explain that a little bit more. So what actually happened is that in 2002, there were like some DNA amplifying techniques that were coming out, which allowed you to detect more like DNA, or like was a little bit more granular on the DNA. So what happened is that they found like there was like this is really unpleasant to describe, unfortunately, but I'm gonna try. Um, so there was tape on Rachel Nickell's body, specifically her intimate parts. Um, they there was obviously a lot of DNA on the tape, but when they actually went back and tried to find how much DNA was on the tape, they were like, oh, there actually no DNA was found, which is
Hmm.
impossible. So basically, the scientists explained that in these situations, when you have too much DNA, it's basically impossible to be able to differentiate it. So it just blew out the machine basically, and they just didn't find anything. So that was the technology in 1992. It just wasn't able to find any DNA.
Crazy.
Yeah, but now with the 2002 technology, they were able to detect that it was, vast majority was Rachel's DNA,
Mm.
but there was 2% unknown male DNA that was found on this tape. But it was so, so little that they weren't able to analyze it. So they had to do some DNA amplifying, multiplying technique in order to expand that DNA of the unknown male DNA population in order to get it to be large enough of a sample size for them to analyze it.
Mm.
Once they did that, they were then able to see that it was Robert Napper's DNA, and that's what helped them incriminate Robert Napper in the case.
Okay. But but that didn't happen until 2008.
Yeah, so I think what happened is they did all of this technique, and that happened from 2002 to 2003. And then
Mm.
once they did that, I don't really know what happened between 2003 and 2007. I don't know why it took 4 years to do that.
Mm.
But they were able to then charge Napper in 2007.
Got it. Got it. Okay.
But I thought that was interesting. It's
Yeah.
like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, some science.
Yeah. Interesting. It's cool that it's literally a zoom enhance feature, but on
Yeah.
DNA.
Hmm.
That is very cool. Yeah. Technology's come a long way.
Yeah. Okay, I don't want to talk about Robert Napper anymore. God,
Okay.
so
Let's
gross.
let's go back to Alex and
Yeah,
Andre.
let's talk about their relationship.
Okay. Okay, if you were Andre, right when this happened, how much do you think you would be encouraging Alex to try to help the police and remember what happened versus trying to protect him?
It's so hard. It's so hard because, like, on the one hand, he's literally the only witness, and the police can't do anything, aren't doing anything. And so you have almost no choice but to like ask your son to relive the worst moment of his
Yeah.
extremely young life almost over and over again in the hopes that you can find something to go off of. Yeah, I think in the documentary they kind of talked about it more. They did interview Andre and Alex in the documentary. And Andre was basically saying like we would do this thing like a few days a week for weeks at a time. We were just
Mm.
like talking to Alex about this horrible, horrible day. Oh, another difference in the documentary versus the series. There is a moment where Andre and Alex do go back to Wimbledon Commons with the police. In
Mm.
this series, it's shown that it's Andre's idea to do this, to say goodbye. And then he asks Alex, who's like, 3 years old, he's like, Alex, do you want to come? And then Alex
Mhm.
is like, yeah, I want to come. And he's like, are you sure? And Alex is like, yeah, like, let's go. And then, they like walk over to Wimbledon Commons. They are having a great time. And then I think Alex like starts crying and it's like not good. And then they like
Mhm.
come back to the car. In the documentary, it's a lot more heartbreaking. So
Oh,
it is not Andre's idea to go back to Wimbledon Commons. It's the police's idea because, again, they still have nothing, even in spite of interrogating Alex for hours and hours at this point. They go to Wimbledon Commons, they bring Andre and Alex. Andre and Alex are like walking around, and at first Alex is having a great time because he loves going on walks. But then they get closer and closer to the scene of the crime, and Alex starts stiffening, and then there's a point where Alex just like stumbles and he falls, and then he just starts sobbing and he's just crying and crying. And then they have footage of this where Andre is like trying to console Alex, but then Andre himself just snaps. He's like, this is stupid. Like, this is fucking stupid. Let's leave. Like, we're leaving. And he just like scoops Alex up and he just runs out of Wimbledon Commons and like goes back to the car and just goes home. And then even Andre himself in an interview is saying that at this time, he is so like, he also is not well, and so he has to pull over on the side of the road and just, like, cry and cry and cry, and at this point, Alex has calmed down, so it's really just Andre who's just, like, sobbing, and then he's, like, apologizing to Alex. He's like, this is so stupid," and then he also, like, allows himself to cry, and I feel like during this time, the way that Andre is talking about it, just have like so much respect for him as a father because he is really trying to make sure that Alex isn't like put through remembering all of this stuff, but he's like not dealing with it himself, but he just
yeah.
constantly puts Alex above himself, which is like it's like so easy to see like where his priorities lay, and it's with Alex.
Mm,
Um But yeah, I was, like, really heartbroken at that moment. I think that's the point where Andre's like, "We're moving. Like, this is not worth it anymore. We're gonna move to France where no one can see us, no one can find us, no one can, like, remind us of this horrible thing, and we're not gonna be continued to be defined by this tragedy."
yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that is so sad. Oh my God.
Yeah.
And they showed the footage in the documentary of
Mhm.
all that happening. Oh,
Of Alex just sobbing, and then even Andre just being like, "This is fucking stupid," and, like,
oh
taking
my
Alex and, like,
God.
running, like, leaving.
Oh, poor Alex and Andre.
Yeah.
Oh, and the 90s and 2000s paparazzi were so horrible.
Yeah.
Just so horrible. Ugh.
Yeah, it is insane. I think the way that they showed it in this series, it was like they were really it's like not like invading all their privacy, like not respecting their boundaries whatsoever.
Yeah.
And then there was also a point in this series where they were just like hooting like monkeys at him. And I was like, what is this? Is this a race thing? I was really confused by that.
What? They wait, the press were hooting at Alex or Andre?
At Andre.
Andre. In the
Yeah,
movie? In the series?
in the series, yeah.
Oh,
He's, like,
I don't know if I
leaving
remember
the
that.
police or whatever, and he's like, like, the police are like, "Oh, the press aren't that bad," or something, and then he's like, "You don't understand. Like, you don't understand how much of a toll this has already taken and will
Mm,
continue to take if I stay here in London." And
mm.
then he leaves, and then he, like, gets on his bike, and as he's getting on his bike, the reporters are basically, like, hooting, hollering at
Oh
him,
my
and
God.
then the police see that with their own eyes, and they're like, "Oh, yeah, that's
Oh
bad."
yeah. Damn. I don't know. Maybe they were just like trying to get his attention. I don't know. Crazy.
Maybe. Yeah. Oh, one thing in the documentary that I thought was quite funny, I was wondering why in this series I was like, "Oh, in order to make him look older, they have, like, shaved his head and given him a beard."
Mm-hmm.
And then I watched the documentary and I was like, "Oh, no, that's how Andre actually looks." He
Oh,
has
so
a
they
shaved head and a beard.
oh, okay. So they yeah, okay, that makes sense. They
Yeah.
they kept it pretty true to like what he and Alex both looked like.
And also, Alex looks like that too now.
Oh, Alex bald with a beard? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was like, "Whoa."
And Alex, I guess, is like a few years older than us, so mid-30s
Yeah.
now? Okay. Okay. Cool. All right. Okay, if you were Andre, How much do you think you would tell Alex about the case as he was growing up? Would you try to just let it be in the past and try to make him forget everything? Do you think you would try to keep him in the loop and treat him as, a partner in what you both are going through?
Yeah, I mean, I think what they were trying to say is that like honesty is a lot, talking about it gives
Hmm.
some form of closure or at least gives you some understanding about how you feel about things. I'm kind of shocked that they didn't really have anyone to talk to for it feels like quite some time.
Yeah.
So that's a little surprising. But yeah, I mean, I feel like if I were Andre, I would like try to be as honest as possible.
Yeah. It's so hard to know what I would do, but I think Andre absolutely made the right call. And obviously, his relationship with Alex was a bit strained for a lot of Alex's childhood, but I mean, the fact that they're so close now, I think goes to show how much Alex felt his father's love that whole time.
Yeah,
Um, and I'm sure Alex could have been way worse off mentally and emotionally if Andre had handled it differently.
for sure. Yeah. I think what is interesting is in this series, I feel like they kind of showed Andre being upset at Alex about not sharing as much as he could about the crime, if it's anything that could have helped the police.
Mm,
I feel like there was a little bit of that frustration, and then I felt bad because 'cause I'm like, "He's just a kid, he just wants to not think about this, and you're just making him relive it every single day." It's, like, so
yeah.
heartbreaking.
Yeah. It's so sad. Also, they showed him being quite strict with him as a dad in Spain and being
Yeah.
like, no, you can't stay out late. Yeah, he was very strict, which obviously Alex resented. I can't say I would act any differently as a parent whose wife was brutally murdered. But that was tough. It was like, I can see what you're trying to do, but you're just like driving Alex farther away. It was sad.
Yeah. Wait, also, why didn't he let Alex be a vegetarian? It's like, "Wait."
He was like, "You need protein."
"Eat the fish."
He literally pushed his head into his plate. I was like, "God damn."
I know. I was like, It's fine to be vegetarian. You will be protein deficient. I will acknowledge that." Gotta have those bootylicious protein muffins. Not sponsored, unfortunately.
Unfortunately. Yeah. I don't know why he was so adamant that I think he was like, "Let's talk about this vegetarianism at another time." And so, but then when they got to the dinner party or whatever, he was like, "Let's not make now the moment that you become vegetarian, okay? You're being rude." So I think it was more about him being rude than him not wanting him to be vegetarian in that moment.
I guess. But also, I don't know, maybe as a vegetarian, I'm just like, he obviously doesn't want to eat meat because his mom was presumably a vegetarian?
Yeah.
Unclear. But I can also see Andre's point. If this guy had a hamburger just yesterday,
It's like, don't choose today at this dinner party that I didn't tell anyone ahead of time that you're vegetarian and show up and just not eat the fish.
yeah, yeah. Or like,
Um,
let's have some
oh,
salad. Just eat the salad underneath the fish.
yeah,
It's
just
okay.
like pick around a little, you know?
Yeah.
Um, at that party, they showed something interesting where Alex and his dad were getting into a heated argument, and then Alex holds a knife up to his dad's throat. Did they acknowledge Alex's violent behavior in the documentary, or was that just a dramatization of what happened?
I think that was just a dramatization. But in the documentary, they did say that Alex kind of acted up. There were times where the police would come to their door and be like, "Hey, Alex was involved in such and such." So there were it's Alex wasn't a perfect angel in his teens. He did
Yeah.
act up, But there was no mention of like, oh yeah, sometimes Alex would brandish a knife at my throat. There was nothing like that. So I think that was
Okay.
kind of a dramatization. Same with the
Okay.
crayon.
Yeah,
There's
the
like the crayon
crayon.
scene. Yeah.
That's right. Okay. Okay. Interesting. Um, okay, going back to the police back in 1992, 1993. If you were the police, how much would you trust what this 2-year-old is saying? Like, would you, I feel like they took it really seriously, but how much would you trust it?
If I didn't have anything else to go off of, I have no choice but to trust what this 2-year-old is saying.
Yeah, fair enough. That's the only thing you have to go off of.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Who's to say that they didn't also order some like memory test to like test also how Alex's memory was
In
in
general.
general?
Yeah. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. But I mean, in both the documentary and in the series, the police seem to be extremely impressed with Alex's memory. So it's
Mm,
possible that they did do all of that. And it was, yeah, Alex has great memory. And like, this is what he remembers everything.
wow. Interesting.
I think the other part in the or in the series that was highlighted was that their relationship was basically fixed when Andre says that Alex, like, I'm out of punishments, and like, this is not what your mom wanted when she gave her life for you.
Mm,
And he was like, what do you mean? And then Andre explains that the only reason that he was kept alive is because his mom didn't struggle and just like sacrificed her life for Andre.
yeah. Did they talk about that in the documentary?
They kind of alluded to it, but I don't think it wasn't as obviously it wasn't as big
Yeah.
of a like, oh, the
Dramatic
reason.
moment.
Yeah, it wasn't
Yeah.
a dramatic moment or anything, which makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that
Hmm.
is what Andre or that is what Alex says is like, yeah, look, she gave her life for me.
Mm,
Um and I also think in the series they basically say at the very end that, Robert Napper had gone through so many horrible events in his life, which is what made him turn out this way.
mm,
Um, and Alex was like, yeah, obviously this horrible thing happened to us, but, we need to let go. We need to move on and we need to stop living with hate in our heart and forgive. And I was like,
mm.
that is such an emotionally mature response.
Crazy. I don't know if I could ever get there. But maybe
Yeah.
that's what he needed to feel peace inside of himself.
Exactly. It's like we need
Yeah.
to make peace with the decision. Um, because then his dad had moved on to like, oh, who like the killer is running loose to like they should have told us earlier and like this is the problem with the police department. And then Alex is like, hey dad, there's always gonna be something. And like at this point it's just up to us to make peace with it. And I was like, that is so wise.
So
Um,
mature.
yeah, and I think that's probably the basis of his memoir, Letting Go, just
Mm.
from the title alone. I did not
Yeah.
read the memoir, but seems
Makes
like
sense.
that's the vibe.
That tracks. That
Yeah,
tracks.
that tracks.
um, so, all right. Speaking of memory, what do you think it says about our college experience that none of our friends really remember anything from college
And you do?
except for me? So, yeah, first for context, so we went to a tech school which was extremely challenging and like very, very stressful. For some reason, none of our friends remember like 90% of the memories I bring up, but I do for some reason.
I think it's a combination. So one, I think while yes, our frontal lobes were still being developed when we were in college, it was not the same as like childhood memories. The
Fair.
second thing is, I agree, I think it was traumatic. But also there is exactly one instance where I remembered something that you didn't, And I don't even remember what it was, which is ironic. But I do remember it. It happened.
The problem is, I can't remember what I've forgotten. Yeah. I think our friend Jackie, who I know is listening, I think she doesn't remember very much because she like barely slept.
Oh
I don't know how
no.
true that is for everyone else, but I do think I slept more than most of us.
That is fair. I don't think I slept that much.
Mm.
So maybe that is it. Okay, yappers. Make sure if your frontal lobes are still developing, just get some
Make sure
sleep.
you're sleeping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really let those long-term and short-term memories bake into your brain.
Bake them in there. Nice and deep.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Oh yeah, I guess just to close the loop, the police eventually did admit that they could have caught Robert Napper earlier. It was basically failing on their part at multiple points in the timeline. But none of the officers faced disciplinary action and basically nothing happened. So that sucks.
Damn. That was so annoying in the series when the police officer made Andre wait for hours
Oh
to meet
yeah.
with him. And then when he did, he was like, by the way, I don't think we need to be talking to the press about this, for your sake, for your sake.
Oh my
I was
God, I
like,
was so
get
pissed.
the fuck out of here. God.
Uh,
So
yeah,
annoying. Yeah.
so annoying. Yet another systemic failure for so many people. Andre,
Yeah.
Alex, Robert Napper, you could argue in some cases.
Yeah, I mean, he did not get the help he needed before all of his trauma turned into like so many horrific events. The 70
Yeah.
plus women that were raped and murdered.
Yep.
Colin
Colin
Stagg,
Stagg.
whose life was ruined.
Yeah. So many people. So many
Jeez.
families.
Oh, my last question is, so the police group number 2 that connected all the dots of Robert Napper called the Rachel Nickell police group and was like, hey, we just found this guy, like we found his map and it connects to like where Rachel was murdered, blah blah blah, you gotta get on this, and the boy that answers the phone is just like, yeah, we'll get on it, but then like looks at the group of police officers in the room, and I guess they were trying to imply that no, they won't get on it. But why do you think the boy communicated that to them and they did nothing about it? Or do you think he was like, nah, I'm not going to bother them with this?
Yeah, I think that's the dramatization part. I mean, I think it's because the lead investigator was getting fired at the time. So,
Yeah.
like, who do you tell when the lead investigator is getting fired? Like,
Oh, fair.
who's in charge now? Who do I tell? I
Yeah.
don't know. Yeah, so I think one, I don't think that's like the actual timeline of what happened. I think that was
Okay.
the dramatization, but it did highlight that there were huge gaps in how these two different forces were acting, and there was like communication silos.
Mm. Yeah. Okay. Fair.
So, yet another fucked police.
Fuck the police.
Another Scotland Yard mistake.
That's right.
In addition to, what was the other one that we did? Should I marry a murderer?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yappers, if you're looking for another true crime set in the UK about a murderer who got away with it for too long, watch Should I Marry a Murderer? And then listen to our episode on it.
Yappers, if you want more evidence that the Scotland Yard ain't shit, watch Should I Marry a Murderer? And also, if you're more of a fan of this series rather than the documentary, you can watch Department Q.
That's right. If you love British accents, Scottish or English, go watch Department Q.
If you like Scottish or British documentaries, go watch Should I Marry a Murderer?
The accents are also in Should I Marry a Murderer?
Yeah, that's true, they are. It's really the story versus the documentary. And if you like both,
watch both.
Oh my God.
All right, let's rate.
Okay. Yeah, let's rate.
I'll go first. I would say quality is a 4 out of 5. I thought it was engaging, but it like left me with a lot of questions. I think I would have liked it to be a little bit longer, honestly, more than 3 episodes. Like gone a little bit more into Robert Napper's life and like the implications with Colin and what his life looked like and stuff. Um, and then enjoyment, I'm between a 3 and a 4.
Hmm. Okay.
Yeah. Maybe I'll go 3 because I think a 7 out of 10 is accurate for how I'd rate this show. Yeah.
Okay. Um, I guess I don't know. I really had to do both the series and the documentary. Um, I guess I'll just do quality. Man, I don't even know. It just feels like quality was 5 out of 5. I actually quite enjoyed the pacing, and
Mm,
I really liked how they interspersed the series with clips from what actually happened. And I liked the way that they told the story, so I would say 5 out of 5 for me. I think enjoyment maybe like 3. I'm also between a 3 and a 4.
yeah.
I would say maybe a 3. I really hate like thinking about the the victims and like
Yeah.
what happened to them, and especially when like kids are involved too, it just like makes me feel so queasy inside. So for that I'll give it a 3, but I thought the storytelling was great, and I actually really liked that they did both the documentary and the series released at the same time on Netflix, so I
Yeah.
could watch both. It was
That's
nice.
cool.
Yeah, it's all part of
Nice.
the Rachel Nickell collection on Netflix.
Oh, oh. Binge in progress?
Let's do it.
Um, I started 2 shows on Friday, both on Apple TV Plus. One is called Cape Fear with Amy Adams. And the other guy is also famous. Let me see.
Is it about rich people problems?
It sure is.
As soon as you said Amy Adams, I knew it.
Okay, Javier Bardem, Amy Adams, Patrick Wilson. Those are the biggest names in it. It's I don't know if I love it yet. It's about these lawyers that had put this man away. So Amy Adams was the defense lawyer for this guy that was accused of murder. Um and she was trying to defend him. She failed. The prosecution succeeded in putting him away, and then she and the prosecuting lawyer got married. And then now it's like 16 years later and the guy has been released from prison, and then he like comes and confronts them. So that's kind of the premise of the show.
Whoa.
That's one. And then the second show I started is called Unconditional. It is about this Israeli mother and daughter that are returning from a 2-week trip to India. They have a layover in Russia, and for some reason, the Russian TSA security people confiscate the daughter's bag and find a bunch of drugs and put her in prison. And so
Wow.
the mom is like scrambling to try to figure out what the heck is going on and like how to get her daughter out. So I'm enjoying that one.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. High drama.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which one of those two would you recommend to people who watch this show?
I guess the one about lawyers in a murder case,
That makes sense.
that's a little more relevant.
Yeah. Cape Fear.
Yeah, Cape Fear. Cape
Got
Fear
it.
on Apple TV Plus.
Okay. What have I been binging? I guess not really binging, but I did watch Office Romance, the new Netflix movie with
Oh, how was
J-Lo.
it?
To be honest, I liked it. But I am normally a huge fan of like cheesy romantic stuff. So I really liked it. I feel like they had a lot of chemistry. It was J-Lo and Brett Goldstein who plays Roy Kent on Ted Lasso. Um, it was a 50% on Rotten Tomatoes, but like I said, I liked it.
Hell yeah.
Yappers, if you didn't like it and you have very strong reasons to not like it, please let me know, 'cause I would like to be on the right side of history at the same time. I cannot deny my feelings.
Richie! Live your truth. Live your truth. If you liked it, you liked it.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry I liked it.
So ashamed.
I know. What else? Okay, maybe to make up for it, I did also see the Barber of Seville opera. I also don't know if to pronounce it as like the Barber of Seville or the Barber of Seville.
Well, I think the city is called Sevilla in Spain. So maybe if it's spelled like with the E, it's Seville.
Okay, so the Barber of Seville, the opera.
Mozart, right?
No.
Oh.
Is it by some like Rossini.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
But he like is extremely inspired by Mozart,
Okay.
apparently.
Okay.
But yeah, it's a comedy. I actually enjoyed it quite a lot. It's like one of those like weirdly, I don't know. I feel like sometimes with these like old operas or like plays and stuff that take place in like the 17th century, they're like so insanely complicated for like no reason. And then like some
Yeah.
parts are extremely drawn out and some parts are just like, what's happening here? This is so chaotic. I thought it was a good watch. Yeah, so it's if you're in the Bay Area, it is playing at the SF Opera, the War Memorial Opera House. I think until the end of the month. Let me confirm. Yes.
What's the famous hook of the opera, like the music that's really recognizable from the opera? How does
There's
that go?
actually quite a few bits that are really recognizable.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, yeah. So one quick thing, it is playing until June 21st, 2026. But yeah, it is there's like so many things that are recognizable. One is the Figaro aria, when he's like, how I think it's Sylvester the cat in Looney Tunes is like Figaro, Figaro,
Yeah.
Figaro, Figaro, Figaro. So like that is from the Barber of Seville.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so
Oh,
that's like
cool.
it happens in Act 1 where Figaro is introducing himself. He is indeed the Barber of Seville, and he's basically saying like, "Oh, I'm like the town's factotum. I am the town's barber. I like it's such a good life and I'm so good at my job." And everyone's always like, "Oh, Figaro, come here. Figaro, do this." Everyone's saying Figaro, 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 and I'm here and I'm there and I'm everywhere. So like that's kind of like the context of him saying Figaro.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, the overture, for some reason, 3 months ago or something, my parents and I were like, oh, there was some tune that came up and my parents were like, that's the Barber of Seville. And I was like, oh, is it? But then we tried for like 30 minutes to find it in the Barber of Seville Spotify and we couldn't. But is it the...
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. I think it's that. It's like, yeah. Okay. Now I want to listen to it because it happens. Thank God for YouTube that has most replayed. Yes. Yeah, that part is part of the Barber of Seville.
Cool.
Yeah. So it was great. I felt like I was like very new to the plot. But I loved all the characters. Even Rosina has like a fierce, independent woman aria where she's like, I am docile, I'm obedient, I follow the rules when I want to, but I can be a viper and I have 100 ways of like being a viper so I can get my way. And I'm like, you go, girl.
Damn. Okay.
Yeah.
17th century Rosina.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, you go, Rosina. Yeah, highly recommend watching it, and don't be intimidated by the whole opera being in Italian because they have subtitles at the top. So
Great.
yeah,
Cool.
the end.
Okay.
Do we have a closing?
No.
Oh.
I don't.
Well,
all right.
Thanks for yapping with us.
See you next time. Thanks for yapping with us. If you loved this episode, have some hot takes we missed, or if you've got a show you're dying for us to binge next, follow us on socials. We're at Binge Yap Repeat.
Until next time, happy binging!